Right.
Okay, if you're so confident that the science supports your plan, Mr. Trudeau or Mr. Charest, then why are you afraid of hearing both sides of the argument? And, it actually reminds me of a scene in Star Trek, The Next Generation. And, I've always been a Star Trek fan. Data, the robot, was sent to evacuate a colony because these nasty aliens were coming to reoccupy their own colony because they actually had it originally. And the colonists didn't want to hear anything. And so Data said, "Is your point of view so weak it cannot withstand rational debate?" At which point they zapped him and they turned him off.
That's what they do to us now.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, Pierre has to recognize a couple of things. First of all, he's currently, as I say, campaigning for the Liberals because he's promoting the climate scare. And people who really care about climate change are going to vote Liberal. They're not going to vote for the Conservatives' weaker climate change approach. I mean, he's not going to get any new supporters by being a climate alarmist because they're just going to go to what they consider the people who have the most extreme plan, which is the Liberals or the NDP. So, and also at this point, he's supposed to be appealing to the grassroots,
right,
to the base. And the base has made it very, very clear with O'Toole, with Andrew Scheer, that they are very much against this sort of pandering to woke political correctness on climate change. They're sick of it. Okay. And at the conference, as I say, we had hundreds of people say, "Damn, you guys are right." Like, why are our leaders supporting the climate scare? This is terrible. And it brings up the article that I had published on June 1st in the National Post, the Financial Post section. It's interesting, Sheila, in the United States a few years ago, they actually were trying to determine what is it that most causes public opinion on climate change? What is the big driver of public opinion? Now, the people doing the poll thought that we had a climate emergency. So they were trying to figure out how can we get people more enthusiastic? Right. Yeah, right. So they looked at things like, is it the science? Is it the statement of the media? Is it the statement of pressure groups? Is it the actual weather around them? Or is it the elites in society, in particular the politicians? And it was that last group that was by far the biggest driver. And they gave good examples. For example, when the Republicans supported the climate scare, like with John McCain, both sides of the aisle were supporting the climate scare. The support for strong action to stop climate change, that was quite high in the United States. But when the Republicans were saying, yeah, well, we think we should have adaptation, we should study the issue more or whatever, when they were actually not promoting the climate scare, support in the public dropped off, not a little, but considerably. And so these researchers from McGill University, Ohio State, and Drexel University, they concluded that the major driver of public opinion on climate change is the opinions of the elites, and in particular, the opinions of politicians. So, I hear from the Conservative Party quite a lot that they will be climate realists. They will actually promote what's true when public opinion supports it. They're going to wait for a very long time because what they don't understand is their own power to influence public opinion. And I don't mean doing it out of the blue, just a sudden pop, because, Danielle Smith did that in a CBC sponsored event where she just suddenly expressed some climate realist type points of view. And she didn't do it strategically, intelligently. So she got booed and she was just criticized like crazy. But of course, that's what's going to happen if you're dumb about it. I mean, if you don't present it in such a way, gradually over time, stop calling it carbon, stop promoting the climate scare, and then eventually start promoting something that makes sense. If you actually have a proper strategy, yes, you can do that. And you can also then lead public opinion to go in that direction.
Your public opinion polling data about when, the parties are in conformity and when they have divergent viewpoints. It reminds me of this thing that Ezra always talks about. And then he'll also, sometimes when he's really enthusiastic, he'll make us watch a video from 1951 on his cell phone, and he makes us all gather around. But it's the Solomon Asch conformity experiment. And so in 1951, it was an experiment to see if you would deny what you know to be true to go along with the group because you don't want to be the one sticking out. And it was, they would show lines, and the other people were told what thing they should answer versus what was reality. And then the test subject they would look at the lines and say, which one is the tallest? There were 3 lines. And the other people would say, oh, it was line 3, even though it was line 1. And they found that the subjects would go along with the group, even though they obviously knew what the right answer was. But they would say, you know what, maybe it is line 3 that is the tallest, even though line 3 is like this and line 1 is like that.
I know they're wrong, but why should I make waves?
2.
In this case, the subject knows he is right, but goes along to avoid the discomfort of disagreeing with the group.
Until such time as somebody in the other group broke ranks and said, actually, I think it's 1. And then the test subject would be more likely to say, you know what, it's 1 also. With a partner, yielding drops to only 5% of the critical trials compared to 37% without a partner. And I think that sort of plays out across everything that we talk about, whether it's about climate change, where there's complete ideological homogeneity, lockdown restrictions. Once one person stands up, everybody else says, you know what? Me too. But it just takes that one person. So who's it going to be from the conservative side of the debate?
Well, that's right. And the party whip, from what I've been told from inside, has told MPs, you cannot speak out against the climate scare.
Oh, hey, what you just saw there is a clip from my weekly full-length show, The Gunn Show. It airs on Wednesday, but this is the internet. You can watch it whenever you feel like. You just have to become a subscriber to our paywalled premium content. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com to become a member today.